Queenstown, Campbelltown, Queensland, America, Belgium, Mackay. I'm just sharing with you all the places that I've lived and loved. How about you? Do you love where you live? Do you love where you work? And if you had a choice of where you could live, where you could work, would it be where you are right now? And if the answer is no, should you move? Should you make a change? And it's a really big decision, I get that. But I'm asking the question because it's been suggested by the behavioural scientists, the satisfaction psychologists, the people in the world who say these are the reasons why people are happy, is that where we live and where we work are really special to us. They are what they call our first place, our second place, and then we should have or could have a third place. 3 places in our life where we feel really comfortable, really safe, we love being there. So if you don't love where you live and you don't love where you work, you might have a third place that you really love, but wouldn't it be great if you had all 3? And it's interesting, the Starbucks folks, the coffee people, they decided that they would be the third place for a lot of people, so that you can go there, relax, no one's going to throw you out, you can do your work there, you can study there, you can read a book, you can hang out all day if you want to. A beautiful place to relax and really enjoy your life. And that's the question that I'm asking, because is it possible that we just put up with average? We put up with something because we're used to it. We put up with living in a house that we don't like. We put up with living in a city or a country that we don't like. We put up with hanging out with people that aren't adding value to our lives. And my question is always why? And I'm really privileged because when I was very young, my father taught me something. He had travelled extensively throughout the entire world. And he used this great expression. He said, the world is the same everywhere. There are people and there are houses with windows and doors. So everywhere you go, although there's different cultures and different people and different experiences and different things to see, the world is actually not that big and not that scary. So I'm very privileged that at a very young age, I think my first big trip to America was 18, and I got on a plane by myself and off I went to the USA. But before that, and it's just my story, I can't change my story, I ran away from home when I had not quite turned 15. And I'm sharing that with you because it was a big change. I went from the security of my family home and then a boarding school that was, it was safe and comfortable, I suppose. But I wanted to do exciting things with my life, and maybe that's been a driving force for me. And I'm asking you, did you or have you got a driving force that wants to do something special with your life? I think, and I share this because I talk to a lot of people every day who they say, I wish I did. I could have, I would have, I should have, but I didn't. And they're those 3 words that are really interesting. You either did or you didn't. There's no would have, could have, should have. But I would have travelled if I had more money. I could have, but I ended up getting married and having kids. Or I should have done more with my life, I just didn't. And I think that's where regret comes from, where we look back and go, I could have done more with my life, but I didn't. Can you change that? And change is the interesting word, isn't it? Because most people are really scared of change. But if there's one thing in the world that's an absolute definite, is that things are going to change. We're going to get older, that's a change. We're going to, things happen inside and outside of our body as we get chronologically older, our bodies change. We have people come in and out of our life, that's a change. You may or may not change your career path or your business. But here's a good question. Should you or would you like to change your career path, your business, where you live? And if you did that, would you look back on your life with less regret? And I don't say would you be happier, because is it possible that happiness is not geographic? Can you be happy anywhere? And I ask that question because I've literally travelled to some places where you probably wouldn't want to live, and they weren't very nice, and there were not very many luxuries there, and people were living in a very poor way, but incredibly happy. So I don't think that happiness comes from things, and it doesn't come from where we live. But is it possible that if you really want to do something and you don't do it, that you could regret it? The reverse of that, if you do it and you've done it and you can look back on it, and there's a great expression, wouldn't it be great if life was, rather than dreaming, it was reliving memories? So when you look back over your life, you go, well, yes, I lived my life in a way that was really exciting and I did all the things that I wanted to do. So how do you do that? And as somebody who doesn't have any kids, and I've got to be really careful when I talk about parenting, of course, but one of the things that my parents taught me is, number one, travel is really important. Number two, everywhere you go, there's houses with windows and doors. And that change is a constant. Things are always going to be changing. And my father, after he settled in Australia, after coming to Australia as a refugee, he became a builder. And he would build beautiful homes that he would say, this is going to be our dream home, we're going to live here now forever. And somebody would come along and offer him a large amount of money to buy the house, and we would move again. And we were constantly moving. So before I ran away from home, I can't remember how many houses I lived in, many houses. So things were changing all the time, changed schools, changed cities, and then as I matured, changed countries. And I lived in the UK, I lived in the USA, I lived in Belgium, I've lived in many cities in Australia. And it's really exciting to look back over my life, and I'm only halfway through. I'm 120, look good for my age. My plan is to live well past 120, of course, so I'm about halfway through. But it's really exciting to look back over my life and say, I have done that, I've been there, I've experienced that. And what's really important is, how do you get to do that? And ultimately, it's about the career path that you choose. But the beautiful thing about what my father taught me, everywhere you go, there's houses with windows and doors, is that people, human beings, have requirements. So for example, if you are a barista, everywhere you go in the world, people want to drink coffee. So if you can make a really good coffee, or if you can just make coffee, you can work anywhere in the world. If you're a hairstylist, hair grows everywhere in the world. People have the requirement to have their hair cut. So you could literally work anywhere in the world. And I use that as an example because I've spoken to some hairstylists who are working on cruise ships, for example, and they're traveling the world in a different country every day. People who work on movie sets and they travel the world with the movie. People who do theatre and do hair for theatre. There's people who do hair for people who are cancer victims, and they work out special ways to do wigs and hair and even tattooing on people's head that have had cancer so that they can help them look beautiful. There's all sorts of options and all different things that you can do with whatever career path you choose. But the ultimate one, of course, is when you're an exercise professional, because it doesn't matter where you go in the world. There are people who want to lose weight, get fit, feel better, have more energy, stop getting sick. They just want to be healthy. And that was the beautiful thing for me, is that all the countries that I've lived in and all the places that I've been, there's a skill set that is required. If you can teach group exercise classes, if you can train people one-on-one, so you're a personal exercise coach. And for me, it was the business skills of being able to run a health club. Something that I learned at a very young age. I started managing and running my first health club when I was 18, with lots of help, of course, and lots of support. But I put all of the things that I learned into practice, and then I could take those skills with me everywhere in the world. And in most countries, there are health clubs, and there are health clubs that need to be run effectively and need to be profitable. So that's, as an exercise professional, you can work anywhere in the world, as a barista, as a chef, as a hairstylist. There's lots of different career paths that you can go anywhere in the world, even if the language doesn't suit. So you don't have to learn 17 languages to travel to 17 countries to work. For example, when I lived in Belgium, because I get my hair cut on a regular basis, I've had hair like this for a very long time, the gentleman that cut my hair in Belgium, he didn't speak English. But we communicated beautifully. For 2 years, he cut my hair every 2 weeks, and we had this great relationship, even though we didn't speak the same language. Same with coffee. If you make a great coffee, or you make a great meal, or you can serve food and alcohol, so if you can work in a bar, for example, everywhere you go, there's going to be people that you can communicate with, as long as you're using the things that we call non-verbal communication, of course, which is your facial expressions, your body language, your voice intonation, your passion. If it comes through, people will want to do business with you, people will want to employ you. But the ultimate career path for anywhere in the world, in any organization, and this is one of the things when people talk to me about how do you make money, or how do you get a job, or what if you don't have any skills, or what if you just aren't good enough for any career path. There's the ultimate career path in the world that every business needs, and every business is struggling to find great people, and you don't have to go to university to learn how to do it. It's called Become a Salesperson. And as an exercise professional, this was the driving force for me to get good at communication, to get good at people skills, to get good at sharing my passion with the world, which is communication. Because if people want to buy what you're doing, if you can pass on, then people want to be involved with what you do. And that's technically called sales. But every company in the world, every organization has a product or a service to sell. And it's interesting because you can't go to university to do a sales degree. You can go and do a marketing degree and a communications degree, and you can do a psychology degree, but there's no sales degree. What you can do to become really good at communication, sales, is if you go to the library, and the library's for free, so that's why I'm using it as an example. It doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, what shape you're in, how smart you are. The beautiful thing about the library, number one, it's for free. Number two is when you are good at communicating effectively, you could do that via the phone. You could do that via social media. You can do that via, yes, face-to-face. But a lot of people share with me, I'm not very good with people. I don't like being in front of people. But you don't have to be a salesperson face-to-face. You can be a salesperson on the phone, for example. And I'm using that because you can go anywhere in the world, and every company, every organization needs somebody to sell their product or service. But there's no university degree for that. You actually have to teach yourself, or you have to train yourself, or go to training to learn how to sell effectively. But ultimately, it isn't about selling, I've got to learn how to be a salesperson. It's find a product or service that you're really proud of, that you want to share with the world, that you think will add value to the world, and then your passion for that product, or service, you pass that on to the people that come into your life. And now you can work anywhere in the world and sell the thing that you're really proud of and make change. You can earn the amount of money that you want to earn. And I get excited about business because business we go into so that we can choose our own hours, be our own boss, earn the amount of money that we want to earn, and work with the people that we want to work with the product or service that we're proud of. But the interesting thing is if you don't want to own your own business, if you think it's going to be a hassle or it's going to be too hard, as a salesperson, that's the only other position in the world where you can do exactly the same as your own business. You can choose your own hours, be your own boss, choose when you go on holidays, choose the amount of money that you want to earn, invest time with the people that you want to invest time with, and most importantly, be proud of the product or service that you're selling, because you can work anywhere. When you know how to communicate effectively, when you are proud of the product that you're selling, or proud of the product that you want to put into people's lives because it's going to add value to their life, then you can choose all of those things because you are so hard to find. Every business owner on the planet is looking for people who know how to communicate effectively. So I'm sharing all of this with you because you don't have to live where you're living now. You don't have to have the house that you've got now. You don't have to drive the car that you're driving now. You don't even have to have the people in your life that you've got now if you don't want to. You can make a change. If you have family connections, or you've got children, or you feel that you're stuck in something because you have to pay the mortgage, the beautiful thing again, and I'll give you thousands of different examples of mums and dads that have picked up their family, put them in a camper van and travelled them around their country. Or they've put them on a plane and put them in a camper van and travelled them around different countries in the world. The world is a beautiful place. If you haven't seen it, could it be a really good idea to see it? Rather than think, I have to get stuck here in this job, with these people, with this product or service, and I've got to be ho-hum, boring, mundane. Life doesn't have to be like that. So coming from someone who, yes, I've lived, and I'll share it again, I'm currently living in Queenstown in the South Island of New Zealand, but I've lived in Queensland in Australia, I've lived in Campbelltown in New South Wales in Australia, I've lived in Europe, I've lived in the UK, I've lived in the USA, and the beautiful thing is wherever you go, there are people who want to be involved with people who are passionate. Health and fitness is a given everywhere in the world. There's always people who need to be healthy, fit and strong. And if you can combine your healthy, fit and strong skills, excuse me, I'm getting excited, with your sales skills, and I don't like to use the word sales, but that's what the world calls it. It's being able to communicate effectively. If you're passionate about something and you can communicate it, you can go anywhere, do anything, earn the amount of money that you want to earn, and have the life that you want to have. You don't have to be stuck where you are now. So whatever your first, second and third place are, if you love where you live, congratulations. If you love where you work, congratulations. If you have a third place, that is exciting and awesome, congratulations. And if none of those are working for you, you do not have to live where you are now. You can change your life. Isn't that awesome? Woohoo!